Hey everyone, welcome back to the YOUnify podcast. If you're new here, I'm Brandyn Keating, the co-founder and CEO of YOUnify, a nonprofit organization helping you flourish and thrive, and also the host of our podcast. I'm really excited to be joined here today by Becker. Jan is the multi-talented driving force behind the film Vision Quest as its director, cinematographer, editor, and producer. Jan is an award-winning filmmaker based here in Los Angeles, and he has over 15 years of experience crafting documentaries and television projects that resonate with audiences all over the world. Jan, welcome. I'm so glad that you were able to join us in the studio here today.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Amazing, of course. So, this film, Vision Quest, is absolutely incredible. I was lucky to get what feels like a little bit of a sneak preview of it. And I'm wondering if you could share a little bit what first drew you to the idea of making the film.
Yeah, so Vision Quest, as you know, it's about going out into the land, into nature, and sit alone for several days, just and fasting, with no other ingredients. Like, don't bring a book, don't write anything. Just sit there in nature.
No
4 days, 4
distractions.
nights too. That's the scary part.
Mhm.
And so that's the basic idea. And for my whole life, I was always interested in spiritual things and also in, what's beyond the reality that's presented to us as reality. I always felt there's something more to everything. And so I've been meditating for many years.
Wow.
I've been working on all kinds of spiritual projects, and I'm practicing every day. So my very good friend Christian Oliver, he was a great guy, very successful actor in Hollywood, also in Germany, and but he discovered this Vision Quest, this specific retreat led by Mark Tollefson, just 3 hours north of Los Angeles, Sacred Land. He discovered it for himself, and he was a newbie, spiritual newbie, and it blew his mind.
Really?
And it's a very extreme practice, to be honest. It's not easy.
Yeah, let's make sure everybody digested that. It's 4 days. You don't have your phone. You don't have your computer. You don't even have a book. You don't have music. It's literally you're just there with your own thoughts in the desert, right?
Correct. Yeah. So he told me about it, but actually we wanted to make some other movie together. We were always thinking, okay, let's do something together. Let's do something fun. Let's do something great.
Because you were pals, right? You were like really close friends.
We were friends. We knew each other through the filmmaking community in LA. So he's not my childhood friend, but we were good friends in the community, and I always admired his energy. He was a go-getter guy. So, and I said, "Oh, this is great. Let's do something together. I mean, teach me how you do all these projects, one after the other." So that's why I really was drawn to him. And but for several years we didn't really come up with something. But then we finally sat down, and then we was brainstorming, and then he said, "You know what? I went to this Vision Quest. Why don't we make a documentary? I would love to show this to people." And I said yes immediately, because it's my kind of thing.
Yeah.
I already was working on another documentary about trauma and how people overcome trauma. And then Vision Quest itself didn't come up for me. But for example, I was looking into plant medicine and also all kinds of retreats in that direction. It was interviewing people already and filming already, but that fit right in. And it also was so easy to do. So I was just, going there for 10 days, doing some interviews before and after. The project seems to be doable for a limited amount of money. And we said, yeah, let's do it. So we just 1 month after we talked about it and made the decision, we are already sitting in the desert in a sweat lodge.
Wow.
And doing that. Yeah.
So you have described this film as becoming deeply personal for you.
Yeah.
How did the process of making the film impact you?
Well, there's two aspects of it. I mean, first of all, that the Vision Quest itself is very powerful, and
Mhm.
they made me participate in it. So I didn't go out for 4 days, but I went
Yeah.
out for twice for 24 hours, and I did all the sweat lodges. One was like 6 hours long,
Wow.
and so I had visions. So
Mm.
it influenced me. I learned to feel the spirit of the land, and it was very transformative. But then, of course, the other thing that was even more impactful, still kind of hard for me to talk about it, but Christian, he died in a plane crash
Yeah.
1 month after we finished filming and with his two young daughters. It
It's
was,
awful.
yeah, so that made it really, really personal for me. So I
Mm.
thought, okay, so this is also for his legacy. He loved this retreat. He wanted to show it to people, bring it to people, what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, this is my mission now. And
Mhm.
actually, we had some problems because the money was frozen in the accounts, and and the only person who would be able to drive this forward was me. So I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do now.
Mhm.
So I did edit the whole film. I can edit. I had a company that, or still have a company that does marketing videos, commercials, and now I'm focusing more like on mini docs and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So I know, and you know, I taught myself how to edit a long time ago because there was no one else who could do it for me for the rate I was asking my
Yeah.
clients for. So so I edited the whole thing. It was a year-long process, pretty rough in the beginning to look at the footage.
Wow. Yeah, that
Um,
must have been
but
difficult.
but then, I mean, I had this driving force behind me that I wanted to make it turn into something that we had envisioned.
Mhm. Was there ever a moment where you thought you wouldn't go through with it after Christian passed away, or was it always just like, "No, this absolutely has to happen"?
Yeah, there was no doubt about it. I
Yeah,
said, no matter what, this
no
is going to
matter
be
what.
finished, and it's going to be finished relatively fast. But
Mm.
of course, I have to make it as good as I can.
Mhm.
And then overall, I got more support.
Mm.
I got a great composer. I had a wonderful colorist and a sound mixer, and it was finished very nicely. And then I had some great screenings here in LA, and now I have distribution, and which is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so it's moving forward, and hopefully lots of people will get to see it.
Mm,
Um, so just to maybe unpack a little bit more about for people who aren't familiar, with what this whole experience of the 4 days is like. You mentioned that sweat lodges are part of that, and I
mm,
think everybody has, like, an imagination of what that is in their
mm,
head, but can you just kinda break it down, like, what the actual experience is like in kinda basic
mm.
terms? Like, what is it if I were to show up to a sweat lodge, like, what would that look like, and what would I do, and what happens next? And you said it's like 6 hours. Can you just kinda share a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So there's before you go out for the 4 days, there's a 3-day preparation period. So it's a
Mhm,
lot of unpacking why you're here.
mhm,
There's getting acquainted with the nature,
mhm.
and then there's sweat lodges. So a sweat
Yep.
lodge is this structure that's built a very specific way, Native American tradition in this case,
Mhm,
and uh, and it's basically a very low tent, like almost built into the earth,
mhm,
covered with very thick covering. So when you go
mhm.
in there, it's pitch black,
Wow.
and there's a little ventilation, but you don't see any light coming in.
Mhm,
And what they do then, they take lava stones, which they heat in a huge fire for
mhm,
hours. They bring those glowing lava stones into
mhm.
the sweat lodge where we sit in a circle and do singing and praying. And
So
it
somebody's,
gets,
like, leading different
yeah, the
songs and
shaman is
prayers.
there and leading everything. And there's certain kind of rituals that are happening within the sweat lodge. And you sit there for, I mean, there were breaks, but the breaks are very short, like every hour or so, or it depends. There's always the length is not timed; it just happens. So we did other lodges that are shorter. That was just the longest one. That was crazy.
Mhm.
And yeah, so you sit in there. It gets very, very, very hot, and it's it's a struggle, and you
Mhm.
have to overcome things.
Mm.
And then for me in the beginning was terrifying Uh, but I overcame it, and then it
Yeah.
became something extremely beautiful, and I didn't even want to leave in the end.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I saw things and I felt things, and it's hard to describe. All that
Yeah.
stuff is hard to describe, and we couldn't also film that. So I filmed a lot of elements of the Sweat Lodge, and I think I
Mhm.
put it into, I told it this Sweat Lodge story in a way that it's still visually intriguing
Yeah.
and that it makes sense, and people can still get the sense what happened there. But we were very mindful about the whole filming process. So there,
Yeah.
because lots of the stuff is sacred. So
Right.
you can't just point your camera at somebody's
Right.
face when they're going through something, or when the spirits are, asked questions, and you
Mhm.
can't just film everything and then present it to a mass audience. So we were very mindful not to disturb, but we are more and more allowed to get closer to the people.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and it's fascinating, um, to, as a viewer, experience everything sort of through the eyes of the 4 participants that you follow. Um, and so there were 4 folks that had sort of their own individual traumas, things that they were trying to work through. Did you observe, was there something connecting them to one another beneath the surface?
Yeah, the connection gets stronger and stronger.
Mhm.
Um, it happens pretty quickly, and it's that searching for the truth, searching for the inner truth, or sharing your trauma, sharing
Mhm.
your most intimate pressures and problems with other people, that
Mhm.
it forms a community immediately. Of course, the shaman and his supporters are very helpful in this
Right.
aspect as well, and they create a beautiful frame for
Mhm.
all of this, so everybody feels really safe.
Mm.
And after the first day, I guess everybody was a little, you know, careful.
Yeah.
But briefly after, the power of the land and the nature around us, and really encouraged them to open up. And then they got used to also the cameras, which was,
Yeah.
of
That's
course,
a
not
whole
easy.
additional layer, right? So not only were they opening up about their trauma in the middle of the desert with some new strangers that they just met, and then it's also being filmed. So how did you build that trust with them?
Yeah, it was actually interesting. So we tried to set it up through emails, and
Mm.
we had a Zoom conference, and yeah, they didn't really, I don't think, didn't feel the impact of the cameras until I unpacked my big camera, and then yeah, put the other ones around them. So in the beginning, I was really conservative with filming. So
Mm.
maybe I missed some good stuff in the beginning, but no, I got enough. So of course, it was good. But I was very careful. But the good thing is that the shaman said I have to participate. Through
Mm.
me participating, and Christian was one of the co-creators of this film,
Mhm.
and he was like a full on participant, and
Mhm.
even I was, going to sweat lodges with them. I was also sharing about my own past and my own trauma and what was on my mind. I was a
Mm.
full part of the whole thing, so they got to know me really deeply.
Wow.
So they trusted me to just put up my rig up there and just
Yeah.
pointed at them while they're unpacking their own, uh, uh, issues and traumas, and yeah.
Well, and how did you balance that being both a participant and, sort of the filmer observer? It sounds like it was pretty intense to go through a lot of emotional things, and then you're also trying to capture a story.
Yeah, it was definitely challenging. Uh, and then sometimes I was just in that mode where I said, I don't want to film right now. I just want to participate. And then I had to force myself, okay, I'm going to get a camera and film some of these things that are very
Yeah.
helpful to have. And then, but while everybody went to sleep at night, I was downloading the footage until midnight or later. And then I got up at 4:30 in the morning, because you
Oh.
get into the rhythm of the land. You don't oversleep. You just wake up very early. And I love that, waking up in the morning. That's one of my best memories. Waking up is one of the first, actually,
Mm.
and then making hot water for coffee
Oh.
because we were. I mean, I'm always so afraid when I go to a spiritual retreat that you're not allowed to drink coffee, but everybody drank coffee, so it was good.
Amazing. So Christian Oliver was such an emotional anchor for the film. So you
Mhm.
mentioned that that he fully participated in the whole thing, and obviously was your co-creator of the project from the beginning. Um, what do you think he hoped that audiences would take away from it? Do you have a sense of that?
Yeah, we discussed it a lot. So that was before we started the movie. It was very
Yeah.
clear that what we wanted was that we take people onto the retreat with us, and
Mm,
they can experience it as close as possible, so they are motivated to go themselves because that's
yeah.
what we need. Everybody needs something like that. And so I made some very specific decisions in the
Mhm.
editing process to keep that alive.
Oh, nice.
So this, I was thinking about, okay, how do I edit this? How do I frame this?
Mhm.
Especially after Christian's passing, what kind of movie this is going to be?
Yeah.
And I made the decision on to use like 95% of the footage was shot right there on the land.
Mm.
And so every time, even when there's interviews,
Mhm.
you can still feel the land in the background. So it's
Yeah.
always you're there. That's what he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, and do you think that Christian's loss kind of changed or transformed your relationship to the project and its central questions in any way, or did that stay constant?
Yeah, I think first it was like one of my spiritual quests and one interesting topic to explore. And now it became really the big question: why are we here?
Mhm.
Uh, what's the meaning of life, and what does pain and trauma, you know, bring to us?
Mhm.
But we can learn from. So
Mm.
these are the main topics, and I also ask these questions in the movie. So the movie itself, the way I structured this, will ask that question it by itself. So I hope that the viewer who sees the movie will they will ask themselves, "Oh, why am I here? What's important in
Yeah.
my life, and what am I maybe can shed?" Uh, yeah.
Incredible. Um, So, one of the central ideas in the film is that modern life keeps us disconnected from ourselves. We have all of these fun little devices that keep us busy in our busy daily lives, just like the peace of modern life. Do you feel like we've lost our relationship with silence and solitude?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, that's a no brainer.
Yeah, it's really, even I thought that I'm like more experienced with solitude and peace.
Yeah.
The first time I went out, so we did actually one small vision quest before the actual retreat, just
Hmm.
to ask Spirit if you can shoot that movie in the first place. So I went out 24 hours, even less, but it was, yeah. So I thought, oh, this is easy. I just, lie down somewhere and just, hang out and in nature. What can go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. When the sun went down, I was like, okay, what now? And
Hmm.
then the moon came up and time passed and more time passed and I tried to sleep and I heard noises and I
Mm.
suddenly was aware that, oh, there are bears here, there are
Mm.
mountain lions, there are insects, scorpions coming out at night out of the ground.
Oh dear.
And I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And
Mm.
all my fears just showed up.
Interesting.
I projected all these fears on my environment. I was scared shitless. It
Really?
was not a good experience.
Yeah.
And then I found peace close to, when it got a little brighter from the coming day, I felt some peace and I fell asleep. And it was very interesting for me to learn. And then when I was at the actual retreat, I
Mhm.
did my 24 hours and it was the opposite. It was an
Really?
absolutely wonderful experience,
Mhm.
very deep, and I saw things. And yeah,
Mhm. Wow. So it sounds like there was a little bit of a hump to get over, but there was a lot of goodness on the other side.
yes.
Yeah. Um, so The Mark Tollefson, the person who took you on the
Mhm.
retreat, right? He described the Vision Quest as a stripping away of illusion. Curious if that resonated with you and if you have thoughts on, kind of what illusions we all might be carrying around that a Vision Quest can help us release ourselves from.
Yeah, we basically consist of delusions. I mean, all our thoughts and all that is what we think is real, what we is just not real.
Yeah.
And nature has the power to strip off a lot of this because we are nature. We come
Mhm.
from the land, we come from this earth, this planet. And we, as human beings, we lived for millions of years,
Mhm.
very close to the ground, very close to nature. Uh, and there's some parts in our brain that still remember all of this.
Mhm.
And I mean, this is my theory right now, right?
Mhm.
So, but I think there's parts of our brain that still remember everything about living in nature, and that comes back. So I had an experience that was extremely powerful when I went to my Vision Quest spot. I felt I was walking back in time, just by
Really?
myself, and I felt I was 2,000 years ago. That's how it really felt. And I think it's just something that all parts of my brain, of the ancient brain, that we all memories that we all carry in our
Mhm.
collective unconscious, suddenly came up and gives that kind of retreat or this vision quest gives you access to areas of your past, of your brain, of our collective experience that we don't have any access to. We live completely on the surface. We
Mhm.
believe everything. We believe in all the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves
Right.
and about the world.
Mhm.
It's when you come back, it's kind of pitiful to see that, to be
Oh,
honest. It's like
no.
it's very painful. It's like, oh my God, we are so lulled by by all these stories
Yeah.
that presented to us that we believe in ourselves, but
Mhm.
that we are believing ourselves. And there's so much more to this. There's so much magic in life that we
Mhm.
completely oversee and not even be aware of. And we just live in our fears mostly.
Mhm.
The fear to be accepted, feel loved, the fear of, on a superficial level, the your bank account is not full enough. It's all very small stuff compared to what's really happening underneath everything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and the desert is nearly like a character in the film,
Mm.
and, you've mentioned several times nature and the land and the role, the role that it played. Do you think that, that was a very deep element of the emotional and sort of spiritual path of the other participants as well?
Yeah, well, that's where all the power came from.
Mm.
That's actually for example, the people who take plant medicine.
Mhm.
So the medicine is in that case the most powerful energy source. In this case, there's no medicine, there's nothing.
Mhm.
So it's just the power of nature, the desert itself, that
Mhm.
seeps through you. And I had such an urge to sleep right on the ground at the end of the retreat. I didn't want to have
Really?
anything between me and the ground because I could feel that energy
Mm.
coming up.
Fascinating. So if somebody is listening or watching and they're like thinking, um, maybe they would like to try something like this out, but like 4 days in the desert with no phone and no food and no books feels like a little bit of a steep cliff to drop off of. Is there some smaller experience that you would recommend to people?
Well, not that I know of. There
You got to
must be,
go full.
there must be something like this. You can maybe do a sweat lodge somewhere. There's
Mhm.
plenty of these offers around. There's probably other retreats that are shorter or easier. Um, yeah, but that's the real deal. I mean, if you want to go all in,
Yeah.
and I also like the fact that there are no substances.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I don't have the experience of taking the substances, but I just love the idea of to be really in touch with nature and feel that energy
Yeah.
passing through you and healing you
Mhm.
and making you shed all your delusions.
Yep.
There's something very pure about it.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you were always kind of a person interested in spirituality and kind of meditation and
Mm.
things like that. I'm curious about what young Jan was like, and how early did that start, and how did you become this person?
Yeah, I always felt the beauty of nature always. I
Mm-hmm.
just trees made me really happy. And then I always had this inkling that there's more to life than
Yeah.
what's going on around me. And I think the third pillar here is that I was obsessed with death.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I was afraid of it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated by it. So I thought about it a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
if you think about death a lot, there's a lot of questions and answers that come up
Mm-hmm.
that other people maybe not, you know, think about.
Wow. So if people want to check out the film, how do they do that?
Oh, it's easy. So it will be released. I mean, actually, it should be out now because the
Mm-hmm.
podcast is in July. So it's going to be on Amazon and Google Play.
Okay.
Uh, the release date is the 23rd of June. And so that's, as I know right now,
Mm-hmm.
these are the two places. There are going to be more places. Just, check out the uh, Instagram
Mm-hmm.
or the website,
Perfect.
uh, which is visionquestfilm.com. I hope that's correct.
We'll have it in the
Okay.
description.
Then yeah,
So
then also link the Instagram. So I will publish like a link tree, and then people
perfect.
can just go see it there. Yeah.
Amazing. And what's next for you?
Well, I'm now developing a narrative feature,
Yeah.
and it's basically the dark side of a spiritual retreat.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's a elevated horror film, so it has
Hmm.
all these elements, but it's scary.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that one might not be for me because I'm a chicken. But y'all, Vision Quest is an awesome movie. I have seen that one. I recommend everybody see that. We will have all of the links below for you to connect with Jan's work, with the Vision Quest website, the Instagram, the link tree, the whole thing. And if you feel like you're getting some benefit from this podcast, we also invite you to like, share, comment. We'd love to know what you think, and that just helps it gets to more eyeballs so that they can benefit from it too. And Jan, my last rapid fire question for you is if somebody just wanted to kind of dip a toe, if they're like, I would like to, when I get done listening to this podcast, I'm inspired. Like, I'm not going to be going out to the desert for 6 weeks tomorrow or for even 4 days, but would you recommend that they go out in nature more, that they meditate? Like, what would be a first tiny baby step that somebody could do
So
right
if
after this?
yeah, baby step towards a retreat like this is very simple. Just go to nature
Hmm.
by yourself, find a spot where nobody just bothers you, and just sit there. Don't take anything with you. Don't write. Don't do anything. Just sit there and watch what you see around you.
Hmm.
Also, the small things. If you see a little bug, say hello to that little bug. And see the grass, how it moves. Just be there and see what's around you. All this life that's actually you don't even notice, and when
Mm,
you just walk through there, just open your eyes and be there and greet it
mm.
and see it as something that's wants to communicate with you. There might be even answers in that 5 minutes. You sit there, you might see something that will tell you something.
Beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much for joining us. Thanks, everyone, for joining us as well. We'll see you next time. So, what's on for the rest of your day?
Have a meeting.
Meetings on.